Welcome to the basics. We're finally at module 2. And in this one, we're going to be covering risk management, mindset, timing, and mistakes to avoid. And this module matters because most traders do not fail from the lack of opportunity. They actually fail because they can't manage themselves. They overtrade, force entries, and then let emotion take the wheel. So, this module is going to be about setting the standard. The real problem isn't the lack of opportunity. It's actually the opposite. The market gives us opportunities all the time, and a lot of traders think the problem is not finding good enough setups, and that's not true at all. The real problem is what traders do between those opportunities. A lot of traders get impatient, they start forcing entries, they start chasing, and then they abandon their discipline. So this module isn't about trying to get you to feel motivated, trying to get you hyped up. It's about building a standard that you can actually follow. So here's my main mission. And it's simple. Get traders to stop overtrading. Because overtrading is going to kill your clarity. It makes you feel like that slow grind. It makes you feel like you're working towards nothing. But really, you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper into noise. And then your emotional decision making takes over. The market is not going to reward your desperation. It's going to reward your patience. And if you cannot sit still, you will usually pay that price with your account. So here's my golden standard. My golden standard is this: trade with structure, trade with timing, and trade with discipline. That's it. That's the whole game. And yes, we're going to slip up some days too, but the market has a funny way of just humbling you so fast. When you get careless and you start making all these crazy trades, but over time you learn that the feelings aren't even what matters. It's discipline what matters. Every real trader follows a real system and a real standard. You don't just wake up one day and then, just start trading whatever. You got to follow your rules. And timing is everything. One of the biggest parts of discipline is timing. For example, I don't trade the first 15 minutes after market open. Well, why don't you? Because I need more information before entering. I don't need to be first. I don't need to be line leader. I just need to be right more often. And I need it to be controlled where I can actually measure my entries. Most of my activity happens in the first 1 or 2 hours after open because that's where the best balance of movement and clarity usually shows up. Timing is going to reduce all that noise, and less noise means better decision making. Instrument focus. My main focus is trading the S&P 500 because for most traders, trading SPX is cleaner, easier to follow, get good fills, less spread. And then there's NDX, which can move very fast. Spreads can get ugly. And it really makes it really hard for newer traders to manage both the entries and the emotions. But that doesn't mean I never trade NDX. I do. I love it. It's my bread and butter. But I only trade it if the setup is clean enough to, justify getting into an NDX play. So the point here is not to trade everything. The point is to just focus on what you can and what you can manage well and get used to one of these tickers because, the more you're focused on it, the more you read it, the better read you have it, the less noise there is. So here are the non-negotiable rules. These are all non-negotiables. There's no revenge trading, no forcing entries, no overtrading, no emotional sizing, no abandoning the plan. Because every trader will say that they believe in discipline until they're red on the day. Then that's when the truth comes out. Rules only matter if they still exist when you're emotional or in chaos. If your rules disappear the second you feel pressured, then they were never rules. They were just some ideas that were floating around. So risk management is way more than just money and a number, because a lot of people think risk management is only about protecting money. It is, but it goes way deeper than that. Risk management also protects your mind. It protects your confidence. It protects your ability to think clearly and to come back tomorrow or later in the day without carrying emotional damage from your trades. And then there's the bad risk that creates chaos, and good risk creates longevity. If your risk is out of control, Your psychology will take a toll and it will follow. Here's what mindset you should have in the market. Because when it comes to mindset, you need to understand what actually creates bad trades. Boredom creates bad trades. Ego creates bad trades, like oversizing. Frustration creates revenge trading. Patience is what's going to keep you aligned throughout those. And then the market exposes who you are when you are undisciplined. That's exactly why mindset is not just some soft topic. It shows up directly in your execution. So if you can't manage your boredom, your ego, or even your frustration, it's going to show up with your chart and your decision making. These are the most common mistakes that traders, make, and they stay stuck forever. Trading the open with no confirmation. You don't have enough information as well. Chasing missed moves. You see somebody trade and then you try to enter, boom, you get smacked. You take trades out of boredom. Some days you make a lot of money. You're like, I have some money to play with. Famous last words. Increasing size after losses. Confusing activity with progress. Just because you're looking at charts doesn't mean you're progressing. And then lastly, there's letting one red trade ruin your whole day. A lot of traders don't actually lose because of one terrible setup. They're losing because one mistake turns into 3, 4, 5, 6 mistakes after it. And that's the spiral that keeps people trapped. And to add on to that, one bad trade usually is not the real problem. The real problem is what happens after it. Do you stay grounded? Or do you get emotional? Do you start making decisions that you normally wouldn't even make? Most traders aren't blowing up from just one bad setup. They're blowing up from a consistent amount of emotional decisions that happen after it. This is exactly why self-control matters more than you trying to be perfect. So let's say you do become profitable and you did have a target in mind. Say it was a number. The point was never just the number. It's how you get there. Because you also got to take into account the trades that you avoided matters too. The times you step away matter too. The moments you stay aligned with that golden standard you've written out matters too. Because anybody can obsess over a target. Oh my God, $50,000, like I dreamt of this day since, I first started. Yeah, it's great. You made $50,000, but the deeper lesson is whether you reach that target with discipline, patience, or intention, or if you reach it by gambling. This is what, actually builds a real trader. And a real trader has a standard. So I'll leave you with this. There's no hype. There's no revenge. There's no randomness. Only a solid standard that you follow. Because once you build that, you stop trading like some degenerate looking for excitement and trying to fill a void in your life. Because you start trading like somebody who actually gives a damn, who's trying to last in this market, who wants to leave a legacy behind or build wealth and make money.